Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? It's your host, Mad Morgan, and you're listening to another episode of Car Musings. How's everybody doing today? How are you doing today? Now, before I get right into it, please check out themadmorgan.com. I keep making changes, updates, everything else. I check in on it once in a while, check my coding, make sure my updates didn't mess up. But, that's the things you got to do in life. You got to maintain in order to keep everything on track. So yeah, check out themadmorgan.com. Other than that, hey, how's your integrity today? Are you keeping it on the right side? That's always the question you got to ask yourself. Am I doing right? Am I doing right? So I've had some emails recently, and I think one of them really stood out, and I wanted to share it with you today. And basically what the subject line was, basically along the lines of, okay, well, what do you do now? And it was in relation to the fact that the world's kind of a crazy place in the last few years. Well, needless since, the COVID of 2020 upwards till from the years moving forward from there, it's like the world became a different place. And it's really odd how it became a different place because our perspectives changed, our outlook changed, our attitudes changed, like a whole bunch of things changed. And unfortunately, not a lot of nice people came out of it, and not a lot of better people came out of it. A lot of problems, anxieties. I mean, let's be honest. From COVID moving forward, the world became a shittier place. And I'm not just saying that, because I have my own share of challenges for the last couple of years, but because people have become really cold, self-centered, heartless SOBs. They really have been. It's unfortunate. It's me for it, collectively helping everybody else. I'm just in it for myself, and it sucks. So the question was posed to me is, so Mad Morgan, what do I do now? Well, here's my suggestion, and it's very simple. Make a plan like a which way book. Choose your own adventure book. Okay? That's the way I say it. Make it plan like a choose your own adventure book. And for those in a certain age category knows what those books are, it's basically a story which gives you options at the end of a certain segment that basically lets you decide where you want to go, what choices you want to make, which direction you want to go into. Now, I know that sounds fanciful when it comes to an actual novel or a book, but I'm going to put it into a different perspective. What you got to do is you got to make a list of, okay, where are you at now? Where do you want to be? And place some factors into that of, okay, well, if not this, then that, right? That's the way I would play it. If not this, then that. Or if this, then not, then that. And if I get this, I can move onwards to this. And if it all goes to shit, what am I going to do? Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Like, you got to look at the extremes of the mentality of the average person, okay? When they have something to strive for, they're going to strive for it and they're going to persevere. But if they got nothing to lose, I would fucking run for the hills. Seriously. Because a person that has nothing to lose will go to any extremes and are unpredictable. For a person that has something to lose, well, they're going to be looking at it from a completely different angle. So you really gotta think about that when you make your decision-making process. What do you have to lose? If you have nothing to lose, well, then what are your choices you're going to make? And vice versa. I mean, what do you want to have? I've said before, you can have anything you want in life. You can achieve it. It just depends on your perseverance and your fortitude and how much you're willing to actually push forward to achieve it. Don't let life get you down because it sucks at times. It does. Life is a challenge. People can be a challenge. I love my dog more and more each day because people can be jerks. But, it's just the reality of it. You just have to survive and keep yourself moving forward. Because let's be honest. If you give up, you're never going to acquire anything. You're never going to achieve anything. You're never going to make the life that you want if you give up. Okay? So, my advice, especially for me, because I've been through enough strife since I was a kid, and I survived that. I survived my father being an alcoholic. I survived being bullied in school. I survived always being the outcast. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for pity. That's just the lot in life that was given me. Okay? I am cut from a different cloth than most. I don't follow the flock. I'm not one of those people. So it presents a share of obstacles, but you know what? That's not something that I just picked up one day. It's just the way it's always been since I can recall, since I can remember. It's just been what I've had to deal with. And you have to deal with your own choices in life. You have to deal with, some things that are just pushed upon you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But there is a lot of things you can do to change certain outcomes. And I proved that when I went from the ugly duckling to high school, started quote unquote playing the game, which produced a different outcome. But when I decided I was done being, that fakeness, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go back to being who I was, which of course put me out of the mainstream acceptance. And unfortunately, that's kind of how it works in life in general, right? You'll have the level of fakeness that happens on different levels, whether it be high school, whether it be social, whether it be professional. There's all those different levels that you have to deal with. And it sucks. I agree it sucks. But it is just the way it is. Only you can decide the choices in which you're going to make that's going to alter that. Okay? Are you going to give in to it? Are you going to accept it? Are you going to not accept it? What can you do to change it? How bad do you want to change it? If you're in a certain situation that you don't like, okay, fine. What sacrifices are you willing to make? Anyways, lo and behold, that's life. You're going to deal with the idiots. And how much you let them affect you, that's a different story altogether, right? If you're going to let them affect you, then they're going to win. You can't let them win. You just can't let them win. They'll get your goat. They'll bug the crap out of you because you have an internal conflict. As a listener of mine, you know for a fact that you most likely have a certain level of integrity, decency, honesty. A lot of the traits that unfortunately don't get you far in these days. Once upon a time, those traits, those characteristics and everything else were cherished. They were welcomed. They were revered. Not anymore, unfortunately. Now it's just a matter of doing it completely differently. Completely wrong, in my opinion. Okay? Completely, I don't even have words for it to try to explain, explain what the makeup of the world makes today. It's unfortunate, it really is. But it's the reality of it. So make your decisions wisely. Do you want certain things? Make a plan. Make the sacrifice. Make the dedication. Make the right maneuvers in order to get there. And it might be undue stress, undue work, undue everything else that you don't feel you should have to with how far you've come to this point. But you can either do one or two things. You can give up, roll over, and die, or you can tell the world to fuck right off and tell them you're not going to bring me down. I am going to persevere. I am going to survive, and I'm going to do good. All right? So you really got to ask yourself, which one are you going to be? Okay? You're going to be the one that survives, or you're going to be the rollover that basically says fuck it all and I'm just giving up. Don't be the give up. Don't be the give up. Don't let all those people win. Don't let them win. The ones that wanted to see you fall, the ones that were secretly jealous, the ones that actually, you know, couldn't give a shit about anybody else but themselves, those ones that wrote you off from the moment they met you, don't let those people win. Make your plans. Find out what's needed in any environment and ask yourself, do I want to be in that environment? Do I want to be at that level? Do I want to be, in that situation? Do I, you really got to ask yourself those deep questions, because if you're going to make plans, if you're going to make decisions, you really got to ask yourself, is it worth it to make all those steps to get to that place? Because you got to ask yourself, do I really want to be at that place? Now, sometimes it's a matter of survival. Like, I'll admit myself, I'm in survival mode. I've been in survival mode trying to freaking, get back on my feet. And it's like brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. And as frustrating as it is, believe it or not, even my therapist basically says that my podcast is therapeutic in itself, and it's true. But you see, these are steps that I take for myself, and you should take for yourself. I'm not saying go seek therapy. I'm saying find a system that works for you. Find what you want to do. Make a plan to achieve at that point. And yes, it's going to suck. There's going to be parts of it you don't like. But in the long run, when you actually get closer to where you want to be and where your goal is, then you will feel a sigh of relief. And then my advice is make a contingency plan. Make a backup plan. Okay? Make a contingency, make a backup plan, because you've been burned before. We all have. Definitely put backup plans. I thought I had backup plans. Oh shit, yeah. I thought I had the system wired. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. I got this. Not a problem. If I'm not here, I'm there. Well, you ever played with cards and made a card house? Once in a while, a card will slip and only one or two will fall down. But if the center of that house falls down, if the core of the card house falls down, then yes, that's a whole different story. That's just not one or two cards falling off the side. That is a whole bunch. That's the whole thing crumbling down. And sometimes, if you don't make sure you have enough support, enough of a backup foundation, that's just going to fall apart completely. So really make sure that you have backup after backup after backup, and make sure that you have solid foundations in all directions. So yes, you make a plan. Well, first of all, make a choice, make a plan, figure out where you want to be. Once you figure that out, figure out what's needed to get there. All right? Get that ball rolling. Once you've actually achieved where you want to be, then at that point, then you have to say, okay, I'm here where I want to be. Great. I'm here where I want to be. Now, what's our backup? What's our backup? Do we have a backup? Do we have something else we want to do? Do we have another direction we can go into? If for some reason, all this that we built again comes apart, do we have something else? And if you don't, then build something. And then build a backup for your backup. Build a backup for your backup. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but you've been here before. You don't want to keep being here, right? You don't want to keep being in the same scenario. You don't want to have to keep going in circles and circles and circles and circles and circles and rebuilding. Because if each time you go through this, you learn a little more, then you're going to learn that it sucks more and more each time, and that's not something that you want. You don't want to have to keep rebuilding when you figured that you've already built a solid foundation and you have something to move forward on. So that's what you really got to figure out. Like, You don't want to keep going around in this vicious circle. I know I don't want to, and I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to either, especially when you have people that rely on you, you have family to think about, you have children to think about, when you have responsibilities to think about. You do not want, like when it's yourself and you're solo and you're a bachelor, it's only yourself to worry about. When other people rely on you and other people need you to show up and be and do your part, that's a whole different thing. Because at that point, it becomes more of an intense situation. Because you have to make sure that your plans and your foundations are for everybody. So, something to think about. Something to think about. I know for a fact if I didn't have my family, if I didn't have my plan, if I didn't have my family in my life, if I didn't have, you know, all that in my life, that I would be literally somebody that had nothing to lose. And if I was in that situation where I was somebody that had nothing to lose, I could think of a bunch of people that would be having a really bad day. I kid you not. Um, but you can't think like that. You have to stay on the right side of it, because if you if you let other people win to try to bring you down, then they're victorious, and that's not going to be beneficial for anybody, especially you, because you let the bastards win because of that, because you've given in to the frustration, you've given in to the naysayers, you've given in to all these people that try to hold you down. You can't do that. You have to persevere above them. You can't let them win. And it's sad that as a society and as a species, we spend all this time trying to outdo each other versus helping each other. And it's pretty sad. It really is, that we can't just help each other, lift each other up, where we spend all this time, giving false bullshit, false words, false encouragement, false everything, just to make ourselves feel better, that we're better people. But we're not, right? And it's unfortunate that, we have to convince ourselves, or some people have to convince themselves that, oh, I'm righteous and I'm awesome and everybody likes me. Keep feeding yourself the lie. At the end of the day, you know what your actions are. And if you are feeding a lot of bullshit to people and not actually acting on helping people and supporting people, then you're full of shit. And that doesn't make you a good person. It actually makes you a worse person because of that. So you really got to ask yourself, am I truly a good person or am I not? And actions speak louder than words, my friend. Actions speak louder than words. If you don't make any actions, then your words mean shit. So this is part and parcel of this. Your actions should be you actioning your plan. Figure out where you want to be. Figure out what you need to get there. Make the plan. Action the plan. Don't just talk about it, because that just makes you, a whole bunch of bullshit talk and no action. Make your plan. Figure out where you want to be. Make your plan. Action your plan. Do your plan. And don't give up. You're going to hit brick walls, but it's not your first time you've hit brick walls. You're going to not have instant success sometimes, but that's the challenge of things, right? If it came easy, everybody would be doing it. So you just got to keep moving forward. You just have to keep telling yourself that, is it worth it? Yes. Great. Do I need it? Yes. Okay, great. And just do it. I know, easier said than done. But what's the alternative? The alternative's no fun. The alternative's no fun for anything. It's like, I had a friend of mine say to me, well, fuck, if people did you wrong, why don't you just freaking take them out or something like that? Like, get rid of them. There's people you can pay for that. I'm like, no. Oh, no. I said, you know what? It's a worse punishment to live life than it would be to give them the easy route out. So, that's the thing. It's worse punishment to actually have to live in this world and live this life than it is for anything else. So why would I, one, jeopardize my life, and two, why would I make it easy on them? Fuck, make them suffer going through the struggles of life. Make them suffer going through the ins and outs of what it takes to exist in this world. That's what I say. You know, make them truly, you know, have to realize, oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not fun. And you know, make them go through their struggles. Now, I hope and I truly believe, my own experiences and also in general, that yeah, there's a thing called karma. And I believe that karma is a thing and people should have to pay the consequences for their actions, good or bad. So I'm hoping that if somebody does wrong, they have stuff coming to them. And I'm a strong believer that is the case. But let's get back on track. Bottom line is, make a plan, figure it out. Like a choose your own adventure book. Make a plan, make a backup plan. Do it. You can do it. I believe in you. So that's my little pep talk for today. I hope it helped. And we might pick us up again down the road. I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Thanks for listening to this episode of Car Musings. Keep your integrity in check, and I will see you next episode. Bye for now.